Said if you can't win, wreck someone who can. And
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
It was that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Talk 447. I'm Jeff Emig, joined by Ricky Carmichael. He's in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm in California. Super stoked to get this sort of off weekend episode of Real Talk 447 going. And so Ricky and I, as always, we're always bullshitting, talking about different things, how we can improve the sport. And, you know, obviously we're like, we know everything basically. And so we had a couple of topics that we wanted to talk about. Before we get to the topics, of course, thanking our sponsors, Fox Racing and ODI Grip. So if you get a chance, check out their products. That's the products that we use. And we're stoked if you could back us through those companies. Fantastic stuff. So Ricky, after the race, wait, where was the race? What was it? Orlando 2. I'm old, dude. I'm 50. My memory's going. There was an incident in the after the start of the 250 main event. Okay, so I believe it was the second lap that the riders came around. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, around the third turn, where there was a rider down because there were riders down everywhere at the start of that main event. It was crazy. And Justin Cooper comes by and kind of splits some of the Alpine Star medics and some of the track workers, and then a couple guys come through. I forget who hit the Alpine or the
McAdoo.
McAdoo hits one of the medical workers and blah, 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 blah. And then as I understood it, and I went back and watched it a bunch of times, by the time Cooper got around to basically cross the start line is when he got his first red flag. So Ricky and I were talking about, that incident. And so you were there at the stadium, obviously doing the broadcast. So how did it look from your viewpoint?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're just kind of watching it, and everything is happening so fast. We don't have, a whole bunch of time to go to replays. Maybe like the people that are watching on their DVR, go back. We only get to see the replay when you guys on the broadcast see the replay. So I was like, oh man, someone got hit. But then I started thinking, well, what probably happened more than likely is that the Alpine Star medical, he probably knew that it was going to be red flagged. He's like, okay, we got a red flag situation because they had that communication with the AMA, I'm guessing. And so he assumed or probably thought that the riders knew that it was red flag situation as well. But the riders didn't know that until they saw the next marshal, that would have the red flag. So if you're Justin Cooper, you're Cameron McAdoo, all of the racers, you don't know that it's red flagged, because there's no communication, one-way communication, no radio communication is allowed. So that's
well, and let me jump in. So Justin Cooper's the leader, and you see him kind of looking around. He goes over the triple, like rolls, single, and he's kind of like, wait a second, okay, so I've seen some red cross flags. There's been yellow flags, but yeah, he doesn't know that the race has stopped. And so you kind of see him as the lead. I mean, he was the leader, but he's kind of setting the tone. And so if you're McAdoo and the riders behind you, like, hey, if the leader's going, well, then I'm going. And so it was a really unfortunate situation. Thankfully, nobody was seriously hurt, and the track workers and the medical team could do what they needed to do. Who was the rider that was down? I forget.
Alex Martin.
Double in the Martin.
They had a rough first lap of the main event.
Wow.
For their season opener. But this makes full circle. Is like, I'm not saying that there needs to be radio communication, like the talk back for the rider to go to the mechanic, but this is a perfect scenario of why I think that there should be radio communication from the AMA direct to the riders. Hey, red flag situation, boom, you guys back it down, stop the race.
Well, you have experience from your time in NASCAR,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
And so tell me, so you have your spotter, which is your guy that works for the team, and he's helping you get around the course and inside outside. Hey, there's this or that. But there, I believe, and you tell me, there is communication from NASCAR to the drivers, like an override also, or are you only communicating with your spotter?
Okay, in NASCAR, I was just talking directly with my spotter, but in dirt racing, let's just go dirt racing specifically. They give you a little transponder that links up to your earpiece, and the race controller talks with you. So he'll say, all right, caution out, caution out. Okay, we're going to go green in 2 laps from now. But the moral of the story is you can have that in Supercross. I feel like they should do that because of safety reasons. Like the rider's not going to be talking back to his mechanic.
Okay, but in your dirt track racing, there's you don't have a spotter, but you do have a safety person. And I mean, I've been around that side of the sport since I was a little kid, but I never drove. But isn't in dirt racing, isn't there some like realignment of the field and stuff that, hey, you're behind the 84 and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Like
stuff
like that happens.
They tell you where you need to be lined up. So that whole deal, I saw people were like hating on McAdoo, but you got to look at it from McAdoo's perspective, and shame on me, I haven't looked at his post. I know he commented about it and probably feels awful, but anyhow, he didn't know that it was red flagged, and he was trying the best that he could to follow Justin Cooper, and that's the problem. And I'm only assuming that the Alpine Star medical team, that guy, he probably knew that it was red flag. That's why he jumped out there. That's what
thinking. Everyone was like, okay, everyone's going to cut their engines and roll.
Right.
Justin goes through on the outside, and this guy jumps in.
Yeah. So it's just, it's a chink in the armor, certainly. Miscommunication. And I think it's something that certainly from a safety perspective, for everyone's safety, needs to be looked at and taken seriously. And the radio communication, like dirt car racing does, it needs to be considered. That I've been strong on my opinion on that, and I rest my case with unfortunately what happened in Orlando.
Yeah. And so we're really fortunate that we have an event like the Monster Energy Cup. So you've been a part of that event from the beginning, track design, implementing different things to liven it up and try things. Wouldn't the Monster Energy Cup be the perfect place to test this? I mean, even if it was, practice. Now we're talking about practice.
Yeah, we're talking about practice. Absolutely. And that's what, is so cool about the Monster Energy Cup, is that situation. Like we did the Triple Crown format, or the triple main event format. Like, I feel like it works well. It has its advantages. Are there disadvantages? Of course there is, but for that race, it works awesome. And that's almost like a testing ground. So I think it would be, Jeff, to your point, an awesome testing ground for the riders and the one main official, to use that talk back so they can tell a rider. I mean, just safety, then that just leads me to the next thing. Should riders have their own spotter? I think a lot of crashes could be avoided. More could be avoided than caused with radio communication. Bar none. You will never be able to convince me otherwise. You'd have to have a strong case.
Yeah. So that it seems like the issue is the advantage that you would have with a spotter, and it certainly would be a massive change to the sport. When you look at it in the safety aspects, it'd be hard to find anybody that could disagree with that. And so I get back to the Monster Energy Cup. Are we going to race that this year, by the way?
I'd heard that we are.
And it'll be in LA at the Dignity Health Sports. Did you see Texas open back up or something like that? Did you see that? We're just going to have all of Supercross. We're going to go Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Alamo Dome, back to Houston, Dallas. All
right, well, I can tell you, if the Monster Energy Cup is happening, odds are it's not happening in Cali, unfortunately, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, so go ahead.
So So role play, how, because I know you love that. We always talk about like politics and relationships and all kinds of stuff. This is probably
No,
the
what we
term
do,
that
Jeff,
comes
is
up.
we most of the time we talk about how messed up everyone else is, right? I mean, that's and how
Yeah,
they
and that's
did this
Ricky's term. He
wrong,
says,
or
okay, so let's role play this for a second, whatever the situation is. And so if you were gonna, if you were gonna pitch this to Feld, MX Sports, and then AMA being the sanctioning body, what would be your first? Because it seems like you would have to layer it. Say, okay, let's try this on like a press day. Let's let some riders ride with it at the track, if they haven't already, at their practice compounds, and then layer it. Okay, now and then let's step it up, and then eventually implement it in, let's say, the Monster Energy Cup race. Would that be your strategy, or do you think that is unnecessary?
yeah, I think it would.
Have you ever ran a radio in your helmet other than when we do the RCUs and we use the Cardo systems and all that, which is super cool?
Yeah, I mean, with the Cardo systems, it works so well nowadays. Stuff like that it makes it,
Leg up.
right. No, I did not. However, I did use it. I used it one time with Dungy. I think I used it one time when Townley was riding at my place, and we were doing the talk back, and it seemed like they really liked it, because especially in a practice format, when you're during the week, you can tell your rider things like we do at the RCUs mid moto, or you don't have to wait to tell your rider after they've completed. If it's 250 guys, 15 plus one, or 250 or 450, it'd be 20 plus one. So they're able to work on their skill and their craft throughout that whole race simulation. So I think it's awesome, but I personally haven't had anyone talking to me while riding moto, but I can tell you it would have been a nice tool to have, certainly.
Why do you think it's taken so long? Have you heard any rumbling? Has there been any like lobbying and stuff by the companies that make the pit boards, like the chalkboards and the whiteboards in the motocross industry, with the AMA or anybody that have lobbied against it so that they keep the sales of the pit boards going? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we could get in the
Just
weeds.
asking
We could
questions.
easily get in the weeds on this. And I don't think that the issue has been pushed hard enough. And certainly, and unfortunately, after what happened in Orlando, I think that these conversations need to become a bit more serious, because especially from a safety standpoint, I just feel there's more good that can come from this than there can be harm.
And so we'll take Cardo, for instance, in full disclosure, Cardo backs the RCU events that we do. And we have, as us coaches, we have, like headsets on, and we'll have upwards of, 10, 15 when we split into groups, riders that have the Cardo systems in their helmets. Now, in a regular situation, you'd be able to talk back to each other. But in our situation, we have it set up just one way, essentially. And so cost wise, it doesn't seem like, if each rider owned their system, or they had to buy the system and they just tap into it with whatever the codes would be, and all that, it seems like it could be pretty cost effective way to do this.
Well, I'd certainly think it would be. And I just, we beat it up. What are you for it at this stage? You getting all my questions. Where are you at with it?
I'm for testing it for sure. I would 100% over the summer before the Monster Energy Cup, provided that this race is going to go off, which it looks like there's a really good chance of it. I would for sure at least have, take it to the, the practice facilities where there are a group of riders. Like I was down at Alden Baker's in January, and a group of the guys were riding. So there was maybe 5 guys at once were riding the track. Boom, there's a group. So let's see how that works.
Yeah.
you don't really have that like emergency situation where a guy's down or whatever, but I would take it to everybody, and I would have them test it out, and then take it the next layer. I would go, probably press day, and then practice. I think you could easily start with the premier class, and see how that would work. So,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
That's 15 minutes on the dot right there. So we'll remind you that we are backed by Fox Racing, Shift MX. Dude, I got a chance to ride yesterday finally. Yes, I do ride motorcycles. And I took 4 kids with me. So I went and did a video shoot and photo shoot with Kyle Cowling and his photographer, Brandon. So, dude, it was like old times. I'm out there shooting photos. Hey, doing a little berm shots, like just finding the side of a jump.
Oh yeah.
Blowing it out. Oh, dude, my kids. Wait till you see my Instagram for the next week or next month is going to be.
I'll make sure I block you for the next week.
Yeah, right. Brand new Husky 150. Oh, I was looking nice. So
was there a lot of people out at the track?
There was. It was pretty busy. The vet track wasn't busy, but there were like the Star Racing guys were out there pounding out laps. Their AM guys and younger guys and whatnot. I think KTM was probably out there testing things like that. But I'm telling you what, about 12:30, 1 o'clock, track dried up, wind came up. It was a ghost town. I was like, wait, where did everybody go? It's like everybody got their motos in and it was done. I mean, so I had the place to myself for 2 hours.
So they got it. They got the timing dialed of when the track is just meant and when it goes off.
Yep. And I hadn't ridden for a while, so I went and rode the vet track and just did some video stuff, and I was switching kits and all this sort of stuff. And by the time I got out to the main track, and we're talking about Fox Raceway at Pala, where the National is, so I get out there and it's blown out, rough, dry, all that. So you know how that is when you get to the track, but you haven't, ridden the track and like progressed with it. So you get out there and it's just every line sucks. It's rocks are everywhere. Hey, there were parts of that track that were blue groove, like the hillside and all that, like rubber on the ground. Yeah, it was crazy.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's fun though. So,
we wanted to talk about like mandatory cautions to bunch the field back up.
Yeah. So I'm watching the NASCAR race. Where was it at last week?
Homestead.
Was that a segmented race or not? I forget.
Yeah, they're all segment races now.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So that's something that they tested, and now every one of them's like that. So, because of Ricky's time in on 4 wheels and whatnot, I text him. We called. I said, "Hey, what do you think about?" And once again, the Monster Energy Cup would be a great place to test things like this. Is if instead of the 20-minute plus 1 lap main event that we have, and if a guy gets a lead, guy falls down, whatever the case, what if you segmented it? What if you if we did 30 laps, but they were 3 10-lap segments, and you bunched the field back up, and you had. So in my mind, what I said is, okay, what if you did 10 laps, the 11th lap is slow, and if you're in the back, you have the rest of that lap to try to bunch back up. Mm-hmm. And then you come back onto the start straight, let's say, in this scenario, there is a lane down the start straight. So the leader has to go slow, and then they throw the flag. So now so for the 12th lap, you're back going again. What's your thoughts on something like that?
Well, I think it would certainly be fun for Monster Energy Cup, see how it worked. I mean, I like that idea, obviously, because if there's a runaway race, you want the field to be bunched back up, and then do a single file, maybe rolling start, and then get back at it, like you were saying, like that 11th lap, slow down, let the field get bunched back up, single file, boom. And then when they take the checkered flag jump, you start your lap and everybody goes back for it. I think it'd be certainly fun to watch, no doubt about it. I mean, everyone here most people, you'd have to admit that you want to see all these guys up close and battling and going back and forth, rather than a dude out in 10 seconds in a lead just mailing it in.
Yeah, but as a rider, you want the exact opposite.
Yeah,
so
well, 100%. I'm coming from a fan's perspective. Yeah, if I'm coming like you and I in our racing day, hell yeah, I want to maintain that 10-second lead, but I'm strictly coming from a fan perspective and an analyst perspective. It would be a lot of fun to watch that. It would be a
Well,
lot
think
of fun
about
to
it.
watch
There
that. And
was, yeah, but there was a NASCAR race probably back in the 60s or sometime. And I forget, I should know, I should have talked to the research department. The guy won the race by like 6 laps or something, you know? And little by little, they're like, yeah, we got to tighten this up, right? He's ahead by 6 laps. You're
yeah,
leaving, you're beating the traffic. And not that I think that our races haven't been exciting and whatnot, but the question is, how much different would it be if you were constantly, let's say, like I said, in 30 laps? So if you get bad start, you have this opportunity to catch back up. Maybe it is just still 20 laps, but you have that one lap in between where everything tightens back up. Maybe it's 30 laps, and then you have like lap 11, lap 21 tighten back up. And so you have those like 3 10-lap sprints. It would be interesting.
well, I guarantee you this, it'd be a heck of a lot of fun to watch it, from a fan's perspective, because the racing's always going to, for the most part, it's going to be good. It's almost a guaranteed battle to the end because they're bunching things up.
Yeah.
Certainly, that would be fun. It's going to be great to see everyone's comments, and this is all you listeners and viewers. This is where you guys need to come in and shine and comment on our YouTube page and our Instagram page, and tell us your thoughts. I'd like to see a poll of, not from a championship standpoint, how many people would like it, and what are your thoughts and comments, and where you stand on the position. I know we're going to have some of the hardcore fans, Jeff, wouldn't you think, that is like, no way, but just from an entertainment standpoint and watching these guys do some incredible battles,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty fun to watch.
Well, Supercross is one thing, and you're talking about lap times of 50 seconds, 55, 45 on a short, but think about what this would do for pro motocross.
Hey,
Especially-
what if they did this? What if they did a rolling start, but then did a field inversion?
You mean
Like
you mean in the break? You mean
Yeah.
when they re-rack it? Who's going to do that, dude? Everybody's going to sandbag. We
I
saw
know.
what happened. Back in the 80s, I think it was around 84-ish. There was an event at the LA Coliseum, the Rhode Isle Cup. It was a Supercross, and they tried some funky stuff like this where if you qualified through your heat, it basically the starting lineup or something like that got inverted, and some of the guys like sandbagged it. I mean, there were, I think, like Jeff Ward or somebody. I mean, because it's just a strategy to try to win the race, and the rules were the rules. He like in the last lap, he's winning the heat, and he like slows down and like falls over. And I'm thinking that maybe the Dogger did something funky too, and then Rick Johnson. That was the famous race where Rick Johnson wore the like the bad boy like swim trunks over his gear, like over his riding gear, and I believe he won the race and then called everybody out, or at least he won his heat race, and then he called out the other guys for like sandbagging their heat race. So I don't think you could do that, Ricky.
You know what was cool though was the Amsoil Arena Cross when we were doing the Ricky Carmichael Road to Supercross. Dude, those bracket races were a lot of fun to watch. It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. The one-on-one stuff, we used to do that in at the Fast Cross in Italy at Saporidi's event, and huge, like it's almost like an outdoor mega Supercross. It was like a super speedway of a racetrack.
Big jumps, right?
Huge jumps, huge doubles. John Savitsky built the track. I mean, you'd come down this straightaway in the trees, this long ass straightaway, wah! And then you have this double that's shaped like the middle's like a V,
Yeah.
okay, but then it's steep on each side. So it's super hard to time. And so you're like coming into it, and then you have to decelerate into a huge jump. And of course, then you over jump the thing. And then there was like a left hand 90, and then like like tires that were filled with dirt is the wall in the turn. So if you overshot it, I mean, it was crazy. And then there was a huge, like tabletop, like downhill double tabletops and stuff that were just insane.
Was it the same track every year that you guys went there?
Yeah, basically, but huge jumps and tabletop, like super fun. But we would do I think they called it like the tennis match or whatever. And we would do these head-to-head races. And so one time, maybe 96 or so, Ryan Hughes, are lined up for this deal. So we're the only two on the track, and there was legitimately 35, 40, maybe even more, 1,000 people at this place. I mean, it was mega. The fans were mental. Okay, so we're the only two guys on the track. Okay, well, in this one section, in this like 180-degree bowl turn, I'm leading. I come in, and Rhino hits me, and we fall on each other. And he's got his left leg under his bike, and I've got my left leg under my bike, and I can't get up, and I'm laying on him, but I can't get up either. And we're laughing at each other going, dude, get up. I'm like, I can't get up. I'm stuck. Well, the race was happening. The race was still going. Like we were, wasn't like it stopped and okay, whatever. No, it was still happening. So then we finally get up and we get back going. I don't know who ended up getting through that.
Dude, I'd love to see some footage of that. That'd be cool.
Oh, but it's just one-on-ones. There's only two bikes on the track. So it's super like quiet and everyone's focused on one thing. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. And just like in the arena cross stuff, when you guys were doing that, I mean, you come to that final left-hand 180 turn. I mean, to be in the lead, there's almost no way to protect it. If you go inside to block, the guy can go outside and cut under. If you leave the door open, he's going to smash you and put you in the pit area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, talk about getting off in the weeds, but so would you be for segmenting the race?
I would like to see it. Yeah. Like a one-off race. Yeah. I think it would be fun, certainly, to tighten it up once in a while. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
From a fan's perspective, only if the field was really, really spread out, and there just really wasn't anything happening. I think it'd be fun to do that for sure.
We have a couple minutes left. Who would that favor in our current 450 field? Who would benefit from that?
I think a guy like Ken Roxon would, just because.
Dude, he's the points leader. He's won a bunch of races.
Well, yeah, and you think about it, he's been really explosive at the first several laps, or all of the race. I think a guy like Justin Barshow would certainly benefit from it, no doubt. Malcolm Stewart would be really good at that, I feel.
What about a guy like Dylan Ferrandis, who his starts have been horrendous most of the season?
Yeah, I think
trying to ride from the back.
Yeah, certainly he'd be good for it, for sure. Yeah. I'm thinking here, but yeah, I mean, off the top of my head and not having a lot of time to think about it, those guys that I mentioned, I think would be good.
Well,
it'd be fun. It would be fun to watch, though.
Yeah, it sounds like you need to. Well, we'll just have everybody, all of our listeners and viewers here. Just I can't give it out, but find Dave Prater's email from Feld Entertainment and just blow him up, and we'll get. Sorry, Dave, I'm teasing. Leave him alone. He's busy, folks.
Oh, you thought you forgot one other guy over there. They could email too.
Who's that?
Mike.
Oh, Mewy. That's right. Yeah, we should give out Mewy's email. Could you imagine? Just
yeah.
I will say that between the sponsorship with Monster Energy and the leaders at Feld and in the, what are we on now? Maybe 10 years of Monster Energy Cup, 9 years, something.
Yeah.
What was the first year? 2012, 2013?
Yeah. Was it?
Maybe 13.
12, might have been 12.
Yeah, but using that event, the Joker lane has just played such an instrumental role. Remember Dungy? Oh,
yeah. I mean,
guys that have missed the Joker lane, and I mean, just that one thing alone has been really cool, and it's been entertaining. So I can't wait to have us get back to that event. It's great seeing the younger riders too, and the amateur all stars and the super mini. But
Yeah,
segmenting those races.
yeah. I mean, being able to watch the amateur all stars and the super minis, the young talent coming up, it's cool to watch the progression. You know, you think of like Styles Robertson, Austin Faulkner, Aaron Plessinger, guys like that. You know, to watch their what's that?
Cianciarulo won the first super mini, right?
I mean, to watch their progression, that's cool. It's fun, you know.
So nobody's won all three classes yet, right? I mean, Adam's probably the only guy right now I think that's might be that will have done that.
Yeah.
Faulkner will be soon if he rides
Cooper Webb. Did Cooper race super minis there? I don't think he did.
It's hard to say.
I thought he won the All-Star.
Man, I don't know. It's been a while though. It's been fun. So let us know what you think.
A lot of beverages ago, huh?
Few adult beverages, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's probably we have the race and a couple of adult beverages in Vegas, and next thing you know, you have to rewatch the race because you only remember what happened.
That's right. That's right.
Well, hey, I'm going to see you in Daytona here in a few days. So once again, thanks to our sponsors, ODIGrips.com. Check out the original Emig V2 lock-on grip, the Emig Pro, which Ricky and I both run, and then, of course, the RC4 handlebar bend that comes in the Podium and the Podium Flight, and then the CFT also. So check it out. Ricky, any last words here?
Yeah, just can't wait for Daytona. Obviously, special race, hardest Supercross of the year physically, no doubt. And my ties with that race are special. And then, of course, the Ricky Carmichael Amateur Supercross, a lot of fun. Going to be great. Amateur major event. And dude, I get to see you. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll see you Sunday.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Andrew McKeague Band and This Old Lie. See you.